Thank you for joining me as we dive into Command and continue learning about opportunities. In the last video, we learned quite a bit about what you see on the dashboard. Now let's dive in a little bit deeper and see what we're looking at inside of these pipelines and how we can customize them to have better communication with our clients and to stay on task. All right, so in each of these three pipelines, there are 5 phases: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. These are set. But inside of each of these phases, there are multiple stages, and those you can customize to match your workflow. So let's take a quick look. First of all, I wanted to point out really quick what we're seeing here at the bottom is how many opportunities that I have in this phase. So I have 2 opportunities here. I have none, 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 and none. I have 2 under buyers, none here, 1 under active, none here, none here. All right, so now let's take a look at what we see in the phases. All right, so right now I am in the cultivate phase and I have 3 stages: watch, nurture, and hot. Now these stages are created for you automatically, but they are customizable. You can remove them, you can add stages. The percentage that you see here correlates back to the previous video where we were talking about the MREA economic models and lead generation models. We know that when you get a brand new lead, whether it's an internet generated lead or an open house lead, if you don't work on nurturing them, your likelihood of converting them is probably 5%. But once you've started to work on them and they've started to respond to you, you're now going to maybe move them over to the next stage. You're going to drag them over. Now, this particular opportunity went from a 5% chance to a 10% chance. And then if we move it over to hot, the same thing. It goes from 7%, we're now up to 10%. If we went back to the dashboard, we would see that our percentage has changed. So let's take a look. And look at that. My probable income has increased because I nurtured some of those opportunities. Now let's go back. I mentioned that each phase is set, but the stages are customizable. So here's how you can customize your stages. You're going to click this button that says Stages and Checklists. And if you're going to do this, you need to do it from each of these individual tabs one by one. We'll start with Cultivate. I'm going to click here. And now I see all of my Cultivate stages. So I've got Watch, Nurture, Hot, Client Event, and Test Stage. I can add a stage. I can remove a stage. I can reorder them. And I can set the weights. So let's take a look. Maybe I add another stage and I know that in the final stage, let's take a look. Oh, this was a test stage. Let's delete that. All right, so let's say they come to a client event and then I'm going to create one more stage that is a client event follow-up. And if they've attended the client event, there was a 10% chance they actually did. So now maybe we're up to 15%. And I click save. And that is how that gets added in. Now you'll notice under checklist, there are items on some of these. So let's take a look and see what this is. So I'm going to click in here. And on this checklist, in this particular stage, the Cultivate Watch stage, I have a checklist to make sure that I obtain their email address and to add to command. I have a checklist to make sure that I get their phone number and add it to command, their address and add it to command. I have a checklist item to make sure that I add them to a neighborhood nurture and that I set them for follow-up reminders. And have I sent them a pre-listing guide yet? Let's take a look at the nurture. So under nurture, have I sent a pre-listing guide? It's the same as from before, but that's my process. You get to decide how you want to build out these checklists. So I'll show you what that's going to look like when you're actually working with a client. So let's go back a stage. Let's go into Barney. I'm going to click in here, and right away I'm going to see, have I gotten his email address? Yes, I have. Have I gotten his phone number? No, I haven't. Actually, I did. Have I gotten his address? I have not. Without an address, I was not able to set him up on Nurture, but I was able to set him up for follow-up reminders, and I emailed him a pre-listing guide. And now, if I refresh, oh, I forgot to hit done. All right, we got the email, we got the phone number, we got follow-up reminders and the pre-listing guide. And I'm going to mark them as done. That's why it wasn't working. I've got to do it over here. There, now I've marked those as done. When I come back here, I can see that I'm staying up to date on my opportunity. All right, let me know if you have any questions.